Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Clint McPherson. What's up, man?
Not much, brother. Like always, man. And I can't reiterate this enough. Every time we get on, I get excited. Every guest we have on, I see is special, especially taking their time out of their day to record with us. But enough about that, man. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off by welcoming our special guest, Ryan Stanley, to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, guys. Getting better by the minute. Super pumped to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, it's great to have you on the show. And before we get into everything, we've got some questions for you. We'll, talk, about your journey as an entrepreneur. But can you just quickly explain, tell our guests who you are and what you're all about?
Sure. Yeah. Again, super pumped to be here. So I just want to start off with some gratitude to you guys for having me. Just the concept of entrepreneurialism. I think it's I consider it an art. I consider it an art form. I think it is something that not everybody has the DNA to do, or I think there's painters, there's musicians, there's basically people who are starting off with nothing but an idea and using their creative brain to create something out of it. And from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's a business, that's a product, that's a brand, that's all sorts of different things. And so to answer your question as shortly as possible, I am what I call an ADD entrepreneur. I love creating businesses over my entire life. I love creating different concepts. Right now, I'm working on 2 or 3. Specifically, I published a book last year called Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful. It's a first aid kit for the emotional bumps, scrapes, and bruises of life. So as a certified professional coach, I've been a coach since 2009, so I'm also a life coach. I also have a sales training organization called Teach Me to Sell. So you can find it at teachmetosell.com. And that's working specifically with solopreneurs who hadn't really thought about that they need to sell their products, so they had no sales background. And then lastly, I have a t-shirt company called Setlist Tees. And it's a t-shirt company for fans of the live music scene who want to celebrate specific concerts that they've been to. And I can get more into that a little bit later.
Yeah, that's very awesome, dude, for sure.
Enough to keep me, if you throw a wife and a couple kids in there, it's enough to keep me busy.
Oh, for sure.
I would think so. Yeah. Just one of those businesses would be enough,
Exactly.
To be full time, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. We know exactly how it is we got several things going on in our lives. I have a wife and 2 kids, and man, it just, it really helps you embrace true entrepreneurialism, right? I mean, really, it's one of those things where you don't think you have enough time to do things, but you still have to get out there and make time for it, right?
You got to step into it every day.
With all that said, though, as a co-founder, owner, a CEO, a professional life coach, and all of that, how did your entrepreneurial journey start, man? And what is it about entrepreneurship that you're actually passionate about?
Yeah, so I think, my father was an entrepreneur, for better or for worse. I mean, there were some not always some great times in that ball game. There were some great times there as well. So a part of me has always grown up having that in the background and just knowing that that's kind of an option. And so, I mean, literally in my DNA in some capacity. I think my personal first entrepreneurialism came in, I was 19, and I got involved in a network marketing company, like a multi-level marketing company that was selling environmentally conscious products. And this was back in, maybe 1994 or something like that. And so it was 1995. And so it was not as hip to be environmental. It was a new exciting thing. And so being a young person back then, I was super excited about it. And through that company, I read a lot. I was introduced to Napoleon Hill and started reading his book, Think and Grow Rich, obviously. And just the concepts therein that, having a statement of desire and focusing on faith and focusing on determination and reminding yourself of who you want to be every day through that statement of desire and those types of things. I say that was my catalyst if I had to go back. My brother, like I said, my father was an entrepreneur, so I owned a daycare center with him for a while. My brother, I have an older brother who's an entrepreneur as well, and so I helped him. So my younger years were spent either being an entrepreneur or surrounding myself and taking part in other people's entrepreneurial endeavors. And the second part of your question, what's so passionate around being an entrepreneur, I kind of touched on that in the intro, and the fact that I love that it is being creative. It is in my opinion, a form of art. It is starting off with nothing, putting in the time and the effort, deciding who you want to be, and creating something that is going to, if you wanted to, have a global impact. And making time to decide that that is an opportunity and an option. Why wouldn't you, I guess, step into it?
If you can kind of control your own destiny and be creative with your job, that's amazing. And you get to control the amount of creativity that you have with it, right? You can dial that up or down as much as or as little as you want. So
totally.
Yeah,
and as a life coach and a leadership coach really over the past decade, I'm a huge fan of leadership, right? And so the other piece to that is if there are values and things that I see in being a leader at my own company, right? Or in my own business, even if it's just for myself and aspects of my business, if it's just working with myself, like I think one of the benefits to being an entrepreneur is you don't have to settle for somebody else's lack of leadership. You can be the light you want to see in a company and inspire them to hopefully do the same. But if that's not their train and that's not what they're doing, you don't have to worry about that. As an entrepreneur, you can be the best version of yourself as often as possible, and ideally learn from that and inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you founded a company called Teach Me How to Sell, which you touched on a little bit before. Can you give us a little background about that, and what was the inspiration for that business?
Yeah. So it's Teach Me to Sell. Basically, I was working. So like I said, I've been I've been a certified professional coach since 2009. And in 2019, I met a guy named Kirk Van Linden. And Kirk is an awesome human being. He'd been doing sales, not only sales, but sales training for years, and was sought after all over the world. I'm sorry, really mostly all over the country as a really high-end sales trainer. And he and I got together in the coach training industry. I was working for an organization called IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, which is where I was certified. And I was their internal coach, and I helped them with some admissions. So I helped people enroll in their program as well. And I met Kirk through there. And we just recognized that there was a lot of people out there who were becoming solopreneurs, people who were becoming coaches, people who were becoming fitness instructors, people who were becoming even in direct sales, multi-level marketing or whatever. And they came up with a product or a service. They wanted to change the world. They wanted to do something that would better others, through their business. And they started this business. They took their education, they got certified. And then they recognized that they did not want to be salespeople. And they realized they forgot that they had never really been trained in sales. That wasn't their intention. They didn't want to get into sales. But then all of a sudden somebody asked them, how much do you charge, or how much does your product cost? And all of a sudden they freak out and they get uncomfortable and they get nauseous and they say weird things. Then all of a sudden they offer massive discounts or even offer their stuff for free. And it's like this awkward place to be for any new, entrepreneur.
Yeah. And people, I think it's almost like human nature to feel uncomfortable selling things.
Of course.
Right. Just when you first start out, you're like, I don't want to be that guy who's salesy.
Totally. It's a combination between limiting beliefs that, sales is slimy, right? That we've just kind of maybe grew up in the 80s, looking at these old slimy car sales.
Right. It's a constant poking the bear, right? It's like, hey, buy this. And you're like, bro, leave me alone.
And that and also fear of what other people think, right? We're afraid to ask people for money because especially if it's our own product, we feel like we're bothering them. We feel like we're putting them in an uncomfortable position. And so Teach Me to Sell was really born out of the concept of, I'm the headmaster of mindset at Teach Me to Sell. So I really focus more on the mindset and who you need to be every single day as a solopreneur. And Kirk really has the left brain, serious organization for actual sales skills, tools, techniques, and tips, right? So there's a whole curriculum of actual sales stuff. And I bring in the right side of the brain, the creative, the deciding who you want to be, the mindset stuff. And so we help people recognize that it's really more about serving than it is about selling. And we specifically only work with people or organizations who want to serve. Like if you have to really have a high level of understanding of how we can better the planet, right? And one individual at a time. And so that's really how it was born, is us getting together and say, hey, listen, there's a need out there. There's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of people out there who want to sell and just are afraid of it. And so let's help them understand that it's really just about connecting and empowering others to be the best versions of themselves one way or another.
I love that, man, because when you say, like, it really resonates with me, because I come down to the approach of education, right? Like educating the client and then putting the ball in their court. Because if you educate them and let them know why, it's basically, it sells itself, right? If you do it the right way, and not pushing something on them that they don't need, but educating on that weakness that you see. and you bridge that gap, and then they see it, man. And it makes the sales process so much easier, because there's so many clients that I have that ask me for services they absolutely do not need right now in their journey. Right. And so it's like you educate them on what they need and why they need that, instead of the YouTube video they just watched. And it makes so much more sense to them.
Yeah, and you're able also to connect them and be someone who's able to support them in their journey, whatever that is. Whether my product is right for you, here's what I'm hearing you have, here's what I'm hearing you don't have, here's what I know about both of those things. How can we serve you best from here? What feels right? And also to your point, to be listening to what they do need and don't need. And if you're not coming from how much can I get out of this guy or gal, as much as how can I serve this person the most, you create that win-win. And not only do you walk away more than likely with a sale of some sort, but you also walk away with a friend, and you walk away with a repeat customer who's either going to come back for more when they're ready for whatever else is next, or they're going to refer you to others because they had such a positive experience. They have connected with you as an individual. They do believe that you have their best interest in mind.
Absolutely.
So take it from sales to service.
Yeah, there's no better way to build trust, I think. Two ways is you build it by connecting with a customer or potential customer, or somebody else refers you, and so whether it's somebody goes to a website and they read something or they watch a video, and then that points them to you. That's one way to build trust. But obviously the best way is for you to actually talk with somebody and explain to them how they can get from point A to point B most effectively, and actually educate them, like you were saying. And and then that turns into more trust with other people as they refer you out. So then you talk to those people, and it just almost like it can grow geometrically.
It's the whole relationship building aspect, though, man. That's the thing, is like, when the listeners out there just need to know that it's all about that relationship. It's all about earning that trust. It's not about sell right off the bat. And I think that's where a lot of people get deterred or shy away from being sold to right away, because they don't even know you yet, right? And the first thing is like, I'm fighting the fight or flight method, right? It's like, I'm getting out of here, bro, because I don't even know you. You're freaking me out right now. You're trying to push me. I don't even have that problem, and you're selling me on something right now. So I'm getting the heck out of here. And so I think it's building that relationship, man, is very key.
Totally. And two things. One, they want to know they like you, they trust you, and that you care, right? Those are the three main things that we really focus a lot on. And then two, just to kind of piggyback on what you guys both said, is, while we're building a business, we're building a brand of some sort, right? We're building a brand as maybe obviously quality of intention, but you're also underlining all that. You're building a brand of trust. You want somebody to understand they can trust you as a human being, as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a product. And you do that through being honest, being authentic, being transparent, and really looking out for the overall best for all.
Yeah, without a doubt. So Ryan, as a lifelong entrepreneur, man, known for your natural and impressive ability to connect with people and understand and empower individuals, how important is it for entrepreneurs, or for just anyone in general, man, to end up finding or becoming the best version of themselves?
That's a great question. And in my opinion, right, so there's an opinion, I would say it's in some capacity the most important thing, because because it's going to be something completely different for everybody else. What's the highest and greatest version of ourselves? And if you make time to ask that question, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work for a company that you love, whether you're a musician, whether you're an artist, whatever you're doing, whether you're a parent, whether you're just focusing on being a human being in a family relationship, and that's your job every day, to decide what the best version of yourself is as often as possible, and take action towards it every single day. With that, you get to be all the other things, right? So if you know what the best version of yourself looks like, or at least at the very least are curious as to what it looks like, and really stepping into that as often as possible, the other stuff is going to be a part of that. It's all going to fall under that umbrella. And by the way, I also say that I feel like best is kind of a weird word to use. And I say it all the time, by the way, but it's kind of a weird word to use, because it's, in some capacity, that there's there's judgment there, and that isn't necessary. It's really just, I don't know, and I don't know what the replacement would be, but right. So it's like you're always able to get better. There's no perfect. You never reach the top. You never reach the pinnacle. There's always opportunity for growth and more presence, I think.
Yeah, and if you know that, if you kind of we're all, it's almost like a lot of people are chasing something, this like finality, this end, this finite, end of something. And there really is, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as knowing everything or being finished learning about anything really. I mean, it's amazing how much you can constantly learn. My wife is a dentist, and it's insane to me how much there is to know about the mouth and the health of this area, and how much that affects the rest of your health. And then people are constantly learning forever,
Yeah.
And just like with anything else,
Simon Sinek calls it the infinite game, right? That there's no end game,
Mm-hmm.
there's no long game, it's not short, it's the infinite game.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, so with all the clients that you've worked with over the years, is there a common challenge you often have to help them work through? And is there a standout transformation you've seen that maybe was even unexpected to you?
It's funny. It's a great, I will use this opportunity to segue a little bit into my book, because the reason I wrote my book was because there was common themes in just about all of my clients and my friends and my family and myself. They're at the basic level. I mean, there's deeper extensions of this, for every individual, depending on what their life is like. But the most common, I think, themes just in general are fear, right? To kind of put it under a larger umbrella. Fear of what other people think, fear of what's going to happen in the future, fear of what happened in the past. And then with that comes stress and comes anxiety. It all kind of leads upon itself. And so the reason I wrote this book called Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful is because it is based on the concept that we are all creators, right? In every situation, we are creating something. Right now, the three of us are recording an awesome podcast, right? And if you wake up in the morning and you put on a blue shirt and a blue pants and blue socks and a blue hat, you are creating a man dressed in blue. Right? So we're always creating something. We create conversation, we create art, we create businesses, we create laughter, but we also, when we get angry, we create anger. When we're anxious, we create anxiety. And so it's not that we shouldn't create these things, and we are all exactly who we should be based on every single second of life that we've lived up until that moment. But it's important for us to be aware that we are creating those things. And so recognizing that we are creating always, we also create joy. There's different things we can create. And so typically if we're creating stress, and this was a common theme in my clients, right? That we're creating stress because I worked a long time with just musicians, and a lot of their stresses came from that they weren't as successful as they should be yet, right? And they weren't sure whether this career was going to work out for them. And I think the same is a lot for just entrepreneurs in general, right? And so the concept of creating patience in any given moment. What is it like to create a patient person? How would a patient person behave in this moment? And if you detach yourself from the fears and the anxieties and the worries that you're thinking about, instead focus your intention and your energy on creating a person who is patient in this moment, what does that feel like? How does that look? What would you actually do? Right. And then with that, so that's chapter 1. And then chapter 2 is be present, right? So if you're also like people are typically also stressed because they're worried about the future, right? They're worried that something's not going to, I'm not sure when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, or even the past. I'm worried about what I said last week and what someone else might think of that somewhere else, right? All these different things. So create a person who's present. If you are here right now in this moment as an entrepreneur, just as a human being, if you are creating, what are all 5 of your senses doing? Are you recognizing that gravity and oxygen are keeping you alive, and sunlight, like all these different things that are literally here in this moment? Because the truth is really only now. And so when we look at just this now, instead of focused on any future or past that might be causing us anxiety, we create a present person where we relieve that stress, we relieve that anxiety. And then joyful, right? So chapter 3 is be joyful. If you're going to be here now, if you're not worrying about the future anymore, you're not worrying about the past, you're not, how would you rather be feeling? What would it be like to create some joy in your life? And how can you implement that into whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, as a musician, all these different things? Create some joy. Even it doesn't have to be, don't worry, be happy. Hey, I know stressful things happen, but how could your life be different if you chose to create joy more often and built up that muscle and that practice within your mind and literally made a physical habit of releasing chemicals that bring joy and physical happiness to your body. And then so those are there's only 3 chapters. And then the 4th chapter is really the epilogue. And that's just like, keep going, man. Like no matter what, on your worst day and on your best day, keep going. Because there's never been a day that's lasted longer than 24 hours. If you wake up tomorrow, you can start again.
Yeah, it's so powerful what you bring up when you talk about fear, right? Because it's the fear gets a lot of people, and it keeps a lot of people from succeeding. Because what it really comes down to, I believe, at the end of the day, is the fear of failure, right? But as an entrepreneur, and to be a true entrepreneur, you know you're going to fail at some point. Because if you haven't failed, I don't even think you could call yourself an entrepreneur if you haven't failed yet, right? I mean, I haven't heard of somebody just signing up to be an entrepreneur or saying, "Hey, I'm going to be a businessman, and now I own my own company, and now all I do is win." Right? I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Win, 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 no matter what. But at the end of the day, it's not that easy, right? And I think really the fear of failure, man, is what really kills a lot of individuals. But I want to believe they are wantrepreneurs instead of like entrepreneurs, right? Because those are the people that are going to fold their tent up. The failure, the adversity, that stuff kicks in. They're folding up shop and getting out of there, right? And then going back to your point of being present, man. I mean, we've talked about this several times on our show, and being present. And I think being present in the moment and enjoying the ride along the way, because like you said, there's no final destination, man. If you think there's a final destination, you're playing the wrong game. I mean, I got it. Like if I'm going to my dad's house or whatever, or visiting a family member, I know there's a final destination because I'm going to get there, but I also got to leave, right? And then eventually I'm going to want to return, right? Or whatever it is, he moves. Now I have to go visit him somewhere else. But it's a continuous thing, right? If you want to continue that relationship or you want to continue the journey, it just doesn't stop from that one trip. It doesn't just stop from that one goal you set, right? You're like, hey, man, I want to hit $1 million this year. Boom. Okay. Once you hit that $1 million, you can't be satisfied. You can be like, hey, give yourself a high five. Be happy that you hit that milestone, that goal. But what is it going to take to get to 2 million? What is it going to take to get to 5? And it doesn't even have to be that high, right? 100,000 and be pumped about it, right?
Well, and there's two things there. One is definitely make time to celebrate, right? I mean, so too many people, I think entrepreneurs I've spoken with don't even take the time to give themselves that high five. Or then it's almost ruining the journey to get there, right? So you did set your destination, you decided where you wanted to go. But when you do get there, you're right, it's going to be temporary. So celebrate it with love and gratitude for life itself and the experience that brought you there, and then decide what's next, right? And enjoy that journey. But to your earlier point, it's like every single day between now and the end of the year, hitting my million or whatever it is, who do I want to be the whole time? And if I could be joyful and you know, basically be the light that you want to see in the world for others, and create a product that serves others and earn a ton of money so that you can enjoy the life that you deserve. Like all of that is part of it, and that is a daily practice.
Yeah, that's the full package right there.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, what you said about artists, music artists, not having this anxiety because they didn't feel that like they had they were successful enough, or that they reached the point that maybe it was like an arbitrary level of success that they were trying to reach. I mean, I think that's really interesting, because as entrepreneurs, we can all relate to that. I think there's constantly this like, man, I'm not where I want to be. But really, when you look back at it, you might realize that you're a lot further along than you were, that you're maybe at the point that a year ago you wanted to get to. So enjoying that ride, enjoying the successes along the way is so important. With those music artists, I'm just curious, was there kind of a level where artists, kind of realize, hey, I'm okay, I've made it, I've sort of, or was it that were they always, even as successful as anybody from the outside looking in would perceive it, were they still chasing?
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
And it's like funny because it all goes back to fear in some capacity, right? And so when you're afraid that you're not going good enough, you're afraid that you haven't reached your expectations, you're afraid that you haven't reached the expectations of others. So yeah, I mean, but there's so many, and it was a great point, Andrew. So many times I've had a conversation with one of my coaching clients, especially in the music industry, and they're just feeling, listen, man, it's just because it's not an easy industry to make it in, right? Because you feel like, okay, unless I'm selling out stadiums, then I haven't made it. Like in some capacity, like there's this. But the truth of the matter is, there are extremely successful musicians all over the world that we've never heard of and never will. And they're selling music in a different way. And especially in today's day and age with technology and all these different ways to kind of get music in front of people. So a lot of the time it's like, and you hit the nail right on the head, Andrew. It's like this point where I'll have to sit down and say, listen, man, Like, where were you a year ago? Or like what, or let's even 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. Like, depends on where you are in your career. Like, if I had told you that you could be exactly where you are now, how would you have felt? And they're like, well, oh my gosh, that would have been amazing. Okay, so now you're here. Like, let's take a moment to celebrate who you are, what you've done, and how you're already 80% farther than most of the people at your age or whatever. I've had conversations like that. So instead of saying where I'm not, look at where you are and then decide where you want to be and create gratitude for that outcome, right? Instead of, because what we're actually doing when you say I'm not far enough, I'm not successful enough, you are focusing physical energy on the fact that you are not something. And you're focusing energy on what it feels like to not have enough. And it's like this lack mentality. Yeah. As opposed to deciding who you want to be, creating gratitude for that outcome, and then stepping into it every single day, knowing that that is part of the journey. And it's your job in the meantime to celebrate life and work your ass off until you get there. And if you can do the combination, you can recognize that life is a gift, right? And every single moment there is, again, gravity and oxygen and sunlight, just so that we can be here today to be who we want to be. What are you doing with it? And if you know, we all know what our gifts are. If you know in your heart that, hey, I'm here to be a musician, I'm here to be an entrepreneur, I'm here to create something and learn from it and serve others, like, then do that and enjoy it and love it and be grateful for the opportunity to do it. And then, start again tomorrow. It doesn't mean you don't get stressed. Doesn't mean you don't get overwhelmed. Doesn't mean things don't happen. But how long do we want to sit there and feel that the anger or the stress instead of being proactive and changing the future?
Yeah, man. Love it. So Ryan, let's talk about this. Through your entrepreneurial journey, and we ask this all our guests, from the highs and the lows that you've experienced throughout the course of your career, what has been the most difficult thing to date along that journey, man?
I think at one point when I first enrolled in coach training, and I was just starting off, and I had just left a job, and I just started in coach training. And really, to be honest with you, it came from just certain family members. I was living with my mother-in-law. I had just gotten married, and I think my wife had higher expectations at one point, right away off the bat. And so showing up and say, listen, this is going to, I think the hardest thing for many of us is not, so it depends on the individual. For me, it wasn't not believing in myself. It was getting others, people who are raised with a different type of mindset, to really understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and that there are highs and lows, and that it does part of the journey. And it's not go out and get a job and then just work there for 60 years, get a gold watch and retire. It is deciding that there's going to be ups and downs, but I'm excited to do it. And, there's the Napoleon Hill talks about 3 feet from gold. It's like you get so close, like to not give up at any given point. And when you start to really step into your greatness and allow others start to believe in you, it feels good, but not necessarily allow their beliefs or background to have an effect on you. But once you push past that anyway, things start to open up as well. It's like a shift in energy. Right.
And it's kind of all downhill from there,
right.
Sort of a snowball effect. You start to get you have more faith, you start to see things actually working. Your family and friends, they start to see things working. So they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like, he's okay. He's not, he's not crazy. And that definitely helps,
And I forget there's an expression, and I'm butchering it, but it's like something like, first they mock you, then they something you, then they celebrate you, then they wish they could be you. It's like this whole thing of everybody and that's really why, and that in itself is the reason why it doesn't matter what anybody else anywhere else thinks. They're not your life. They're not living your life. They're judging you based on their life's experience, which has nothing to do with you.
And you bring up
none of our business what anyone else thinks.
Right. You bring up a great point, man. My thing is when I went into this, and I see in my family, a lot of people being held back because of the expectations of others, or, hey, you can't do that. Right. And when I heard that initially, when I decided to be an entrepreneur, my wife was kind of confused. She was like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Right. Like, what is this entrepreneurship thing you're talking about? You want to own your own business, right? Like, obviously we went to college together, got our college degrees and everything. And it like sets you up for the corporate world and to stay in this predefined box, man. And going through my journey and going into the military and coming out and figuring out, like, I don't want to work for anybody else. I don't want to be in that box that was painted for me all the way through my life growing up. I got to step out of that box and be my own person and make my own success, and not rely on others to promote me or rely on others to give me recognition, right? My thing is, once I started blocking out all of the clutter, and this is direct family from my mom, my dad, my grandparents. The only family I really care about as far as being proud of me and my wife and 2 kids, right? Because I believe the people that you will live in your house with, those are the people you don't want to fail. And I think every day, every time I wake up, that's pressure that I have on me to be successful. But at the end of the day too, I was like, my wife, it wasn't that she didn't support me, because she supported me in everything I did. She was just kind of confused because it was different, right? I was stepping out of my comfort zone. She was stepping out of her comfort zone, and it was like, man, what are you doing? Like, go get a job. You can go get, 6 figures at this business or there. You've got people that like you. You can sell. And I'm like, that's not me. That's a picture that was painted by somebody else, and I don't want to do that. And so along that journey, it was like, man, I just took the approach of, okay, I care about what my wife and kids think about, but even if my wife doubts me, it's not going to hurt me, because again, I know it's on familiar territory for her to like trust this process. But I was like, I'm going to do my damnedest, and I'm going to try the hardest I've ever tried at anything in life, so she can. Once I started making money, you see her eyes start opening up, right? Reality started kicking in, like, okay, he can do this.
Oh, so this works.
And then now I can throw her in my backpack and walk her around, right? Because she trusts me. And then now my kids are like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? And so it's a cool feeling, man.
And it's become the new comfort zone.
Exactly.
Right. So before it was outside of the comfort zone, now it is the comfort zone of knowing that this is something that is a real thing and that people do.
Yeah. And until then, there can be a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of self-doubt. And there's always some level of self-doubt. You wonder, hey, can I do this in general? Or even if you can do it in general, there's always going to be like, can I do the next thing? Can I get to the next point? But yeah, definitely it gets more and more comfortable for sure, to where you wake up. I mean, when I first started my business, one of my first businesses where I was like totally on my own, because I had a business before then. I was also a full-time employee somewhere. So it was a side hustle, but it didn't really count in terms of being 100% entrepreneurial. So when I finally started my own business and I was completely on my own, there were definitely some sleepless nights. And like, I would wake up being like, oh man, I got to hit the ground running, like at 1,000%, I can't, there's no chance I can't misstep here at all, So it was a much different. I mean, I wasn't comfortable yet, and I didn't really get into it, but every day just gets a little bit better, and a little better and a little better. And then, but I mean, to be honest, I wake up a lot more comfortable knowing, being confident in the outcome of the day, but I still want to hit the ground running at 1,000 miles an hour, so.
Well, the other thing, I touched on patience before, like just being patient in general as a human being. But the truth is, or an additional truth to that, is also being patient with yourself as an entrepreneur, and being patient. We talked about it being the eternal game, and being patient and knowing, listen, man, as silly and obvious as it sounds, like when people learn to walk, when children learn to walk, like it's not, they fall down immediately many times. Right. But unfortunately, in most cases, they have an adult there who's like, come on, you can do it. Like, yay. And like cheering you. So be that for yourself, right? And just know that, eventually you will be walking like you are now as an adult. So in a business standpoint, if you keep taking the steps, you keep falling down and learning what you didn't like about falling down, learning what you didn't like about that, aspect of where you were in your journey, then you shift it and you adjust, and then you reset and start again. But be patient with yourself and know that, I don't know, for me, it's a lot about allowing as well. I think the sleepless nights and those types of things, I've certainly been there many, many times, but I think it's also now as I mature, I come into this place where I feel like adding meditation into my day, and a place where I can put myself of being in a space of calmness and understanding that I have the opportunity to choose who I want to be in the moment, takes away from those sleepless nights, takes away from the stress, because I'm deciding that, listen, now is all that I have. In fact, it's actually wasting my time now to be focused energy on stuff that is not serving me. And so anything like, how can I focus my time, whether it be at night or in the morning or at any point, on who I want to be and how I want to show up right now, and what action can I start taking towards it? Journaling, I think, is huge as well. I mean, every day I start off my day with, I have a whole morning routine, but part of it is also spending some time in a journal where I write down all the things I'm going to do for the day, what my calendar looks like. I also write down things I'm grateful for. I wrote down what who I plan to be for the day. Like, I want to be present with whomever I'm with. I want to be a good listener. I want to be joyfully productive, like different, like kind of what's my goal for the day, like as a human being. And then also some tasks. So I know that I'm checking off the list. Even by that, totally. So you're living on purpose, right? And one of the things that one of my favorite quotes, I say, one of the quotes that I've been sharing a lot lately is that living on purpose doesn't happen by accident, right? It is something you need to do every single day intentionally and decide what that looks like for you. And the last thing I'll say about that is that it's okay if it changes as well. It's okay that it's written in pencil. And as you go through the journey, you start to understand what is serving you, what isn't serving you, so you can erase things that you don't like about your path and add new ones. For the next 90 years. And I think that's, a lot of the time people who are entrepreneurs, like you said, the entrepreneurs, people who start off, some of the challenges, those fears come from, oh my gosh, like I thought this was it going to be it for the next 90 years and now it's not working. So now I suck and I can't do this. And it's really the opposite of that. It's like, okay, how can I take what I decided I wanted to be? I can take what I liked about it, what I learned from it. And now if it didn't work appropriately, how can I use the good stuff out of the past X amount of weeks, months, days, years, and now apply it to whatever I believe is next? And then keep going. And this way I've gotten rid of the stuff I didn't like, and now I can enhance the stuff that I do like.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, almost nothing actually lasts forever in terms of like a strategy that works, for 10 years might not work the next 10 years. Or, when you look at, that's why I think when you look at companies that have been around for decades, or I mean, a century or more, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because you realize, you kind of think, oh, well, yeah, it was like a snowball. They got to, they grew and grew and grew. And then like there's no way they could fail. But huge companies that have been around for a long time do fail. And so, it is amazing when a company of any size lasts a really long time.
Well, and also even with technology today, I mean, you look at Kodak as an example, right? I mean, anybody in 1987, if you ever said like, hey, Kodak, like they're going to, not sell film one day, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like they own the world in Kodak. Like they have this whole thing. In fact, I read somewhere they actually had the first digital camera and they sat on it and hid it from the world because they didn't want to change the market. And they were afraid they were going to lose the right. So it came from a lack mentality. Instead of we are the best, we've got digital cameras. They actually hid it. And then other people came out with it. And eventually now they sell batteries or whatever the Kodak says. I mean, I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had to do a major pivot, right? So everything is constantly changing. And so be aware of who you are, be aware of what you want.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Yep.
Yeah, right. They could have bought Netflix and they decided not to or something.
Oh man, they could have bought them for like nothing.
Yeah, like $500,000 or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Not the many billions of dollars that they're actually worth now. So it's amazing. Well, Ryan, we could talk to you for a while here, but as we wrap up the episode, what's one piece of advice that you could share with our listeners that you think might, help them on their entrepreneurial journey? I'm sure we've touched on a bunch of things that, you think could help, but.
Yeah, like in summation, man, I'm going to steal it from Napoleon Hill. I'm going to say decide, first of all, so I'll make it as quick as possible, but it is about like a 3 or 4 step process, but it's really important. And I think if everybody kind of takes it in, especially entrepreneurs out there, it'll be helpful. First of all, decide who you want to be. And that's in business, but that's in every other area of your life as well. Like make time to write it down. Make time to write down exactly who you want to be in all areas of your life. And it might take you an hour. Right? I'm not saying, don't scribble. I mean, if it takes you 10 minutes, you're kind of already on point. That's fine. But otherwise, make the time to write it down in the present moment. I am this. I am that. I am this. Right? Really get clarity on it. Then step 2 is decide that is the outcome. Like that is a possibility. Like believe that, have faith that, okay, now I know that this is my unique song. Like this is the song of my soul. I know who I want to be. Right? Now I've written it down. Believe it's possible. Right? Once you believe it's possible, it's your responsibility to do something about it, in my opinion. So now you've written it down. You believe it's possible. Read it aloud every day, 2 to 3 times. One, once you start your day, if you want to throw in at lunch, and then definitely before you go to bed. When you do it, you're starting your day, as we talked about earlier with the journaling. It's like you're really setting your day up for success. You're reminding your subconscious as you go into your day, the next 12 hours of life, who I want to be and why I'm doing this. And before you go to bed, you're reminding your subconscious, before I go to sleep, and your brain is kind of taking in everything from the day. The last thing you're putting in your mind, in my opinion, should be who you want to be and what you want to bring into your life. So that's step 3. Step 4 is take action on it every single day. And if it's on it, listen, man, I mean, obviously you guys know, and other entrepreneurs out there, I'm not saying that you can never have fun with friends. I'm not saying you can never relax, but I am saying, especially starting off, there's time when you're watching Netflix. There's time when you're doing things that are not serving your purpose, that could be used more towards your purpose. So do something, whether it be 15 minutes to 10 hours, but do something towards it every single day of the year. And by the way, I will say that certainly, as a dad of 2, like sometimes being the best dad that I can be and spending an hour just doing nothing with my kids, playing in the yard or playing in the pool or whatever, is part of that as well. So to be intentional about that. And then lastly, I would just say, be the light that you want to see in the world along the way. If it always, you know what your mission is, you're stepping into it with greatness, intention, and purpose, and you also want to be the light that you want to see in the world, so you're inspiring others to do the same. And we're moving from competition to empowerment. I think the biggest challenge in today's world is that we're so caught up in competition and how we can beat the other person or be better than the other person. But really, we're all one. And if we recognize that that's the truth, and instead, it doesn't mean you can't be awesome and amazing. And the Michael Jordan is extremely competitive. And I'd be curious, and I know he was also, empowered his teammates. But in general, if everybody just wanted to be the absolute best version of themselves, and that was their focus, instead of beating somebody else or being better than somebody else, or really just being the best version of ourselves, it will, the ships rise with the tide, right? That's how the thing goes. So be that for others and step into your greatness and recognize that today is a gift and it's your opportunity to do something about it.
Man, I love it, dude. Well, guys, I think that's a wrap for this episode. From the both of us, Ryan, man, I want to thank you. We both want to thank you for taking the time of your day to join us and adding value in what we're doing on our podcast, brother.
Yeah, really my pleasure, guys. Thanks for being you. Keep doing what you're doing. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, we had a great time talking to you. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what Ryan is working on, check out teachmetosell.com. If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or any other major podcast directory. You can also find us on all the socials and on our website at thatentrepreneurlife.com.
With that said, guys, we want to also give a quick shout out, a special shout out to our family, friends, and listeners, followers, and subscribers. If you find value in our show, guys, please consider making a small donation. Even just a few dollars helps us keep things moving along to help bring value to your journey. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget, guys, to join us next week for another episode of That Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.